I've always been a bit of a product junkie, even before that was a term. And I've always been a bit of a beauty DIYer before that was a term. For decades, I would buy products off the shelf and I would add things to it because they always seem to be lacking.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, Sharon, and I want to welcome you back to the Salon Chat, where I share with you 3 decades of professional salon experience, and I inspire, uplift, and empower you to go gray one strand at a time with style. So guys, in this video, we're going to go deep with Angel Cornelius, who is the creator, the founder, the product guru for the Maison 276 brand. There's so many brands you can be connected with, because I do have brands that reach out to me. It has to be the right connection. It has to be the right relationship. And I find myself with the Maison 276 brand. This is a brand that I can be connected to, that I can use, that I can actually say that I love the experience, the connection with the Maison 276 brand. Let's take a look. Just tell everybody, Angel, who you are and what you've done professionally before starting the Maison 276 brand.
Okay, my name's Angel Cornelius, and I am a native New Orleanian. I was born and raised in New Orleans, married my college sweetheart, and when we met in college in Houston at the University of Houston, and this is where we built our life, raised our family, raised our children. And most of my professional experience has been primarily in healthcare administration and a short stint in financial services. So that is where most of my professional experience lies. I've always been a bit of a product junkie, even before that was a term. And I've always been a bit of a beauty DIYer before that was a term. For decades, I would buy products off the shelf and I would add things to it because they always seem to be lacking, whether it was for my skin. I as a Gulf Coast girl, it's very humid. And so, wanting things to keep you moisturized but not sticky. And then, of course, my hair was always an issue, not because I had a problem with it, but I always had problems finding products for my hair because my silver journey started very young. My mother discovered my first silver strand. I was so young, she was still combing my hair. And so I spent decades being frustrated with the products on the market. And so Maison 276 is really the result of just my personal pain points that I was really solving for myself, never really intending to sell products to anyone, never certainly intending to leave a career that I was about to retire from. And start a whole new thing, which actually I did start a whole new thing. But it wasn't kind of what I was expecting, or it was not the plan, I should say. And so, that's what brings me to this point in that journey of becoming an entrepreneur, realizing that there was actually a need for what I was creating really for myself. And honestly, I stumbled on the fact that other people actually were interested in my products. It was nothing that I actually pursued initially.
Right. Yeah, I did a little bit of research. I'm always researching. And I saw that. Did you start with the body butter? Well, let's back up. First of all, I know you started very, very young with your gray hair journey.
Right.
So it started really. So did you ever color your hair any?
So I love when people ask me that question because it gives me an opportunity to say yes and to explain the reason behind it. And I think what is interesting that a lot of women, even now in 2022, are still struggling with the issue that I'm about to reveal. So I had a friend that had, and this is like really a good friend, and we're still friends. And when I was like in my 30s, she would say, you should color your hair. You're too young to have silver hair. You're just too young. And, I had grown up with it. And for me, it wasn't a sign of age. It was just a part of me, kind of like a birthmark. And so when my daughter, our second child, was born, I was in my mid-30s, and I remember she was with me and my daughter, and someone asked, "Is that your granddaughter?" to me. And I was just like, oh my God, no. And so she said, see, I told you should do something with that. And I colored my hair. And so Sharon, you should know, the moment I put that color on my hair, I knew it was a mistake. But even I, after all of those years growing up with that hair, succumbed to
society,
peer pressure or societal pressure, right? And I knew right as soon as I did it, it was just like, this is a mistake. And so for like 4 years, I felt like I was wearing a hat, because as a stylist, you know, like once you cover it, now what? And you know, this is back in the early 90s, like I would say like 94. And so like the whole process of transitioning, that wasn't a thing. The big chop was actually not even a phrase then. But after being so frustrated of coloring my roots, and you know this, and anybody who covers their gray, you know, like it's a weekly process.
Yes, it is.
Like those roots, they're not interested in you and your color.
No.
They're breaking through.
Right.
And I just
especially that hairline. That hairline is giving you the business.
Yes. Right. You see where most of my white is, right? And so I did my first big chop. It wasn't even a phrase then. And I went to my husband's barber.
Mm-hmm. Oh my
and
goodness.
I essentially had a cut very much like yours.
Okay.
Very much like yours. And then I got freestyle braids, because they actually had a hair in the salt and pepper mix that I stumbled on. And I was like, oh, so I wore freestyle braids for a couple of years just to grow it out a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And so that was my first big chop. The second one was when I stopped relaxing my hair. But so I did a big chop before that was actually a phrase. But and so it's just so interesting now that even in 2022, you know, women will often message me, or, you know, and they'll say things like, my kids don't want me to, or my husband. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Like, it's a thing.
I know. And it's so sad.
It really
is. As women, we feel compelled to constantly fit into these roles that other people who do not even live our lives mean they have the right to tell us on so many societal levels, right?
Yeah.
Especially this right now, but we're going to stick to hair.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic right there.
Right.
And I really feel like I feel you where you're coming from. Like my mom's hair is white. My dad's he's deceased now, but his hair was silver, like his whole head. So I knew it was inevitable. And it was like in my early 30s when it first started coming. But I'm like, no, I'm not ready. So it's only been a 2-year journey for me. Like my husband had been telling me you should stop coloring your hair for like 5 years. And I'm like, I'm just not ready. So at the end of the day, it has to be you that makes the decision.
I agree.
It can't be your husband. They can encourage you or not, but ultimately it needs to be that person that makes that decision.
Yeah, I always say I'm not the silver police. If you want to color your hair,
right?
Like I know a lot of stylists that I would recommend. Like I am not the silver police. I do think it's a personal decision, but you know, but that goes both ways in terms of someone encouraging you to do it, or someone saying you should not. This is someone who loves me. Like she had the best of intentions when somebody asked if I was my daughter's granddaughter.
and I'm sure, you know what, I know for a fact, I know I wasn't there, but just thinking about them, just visualizing that, how that looked, I can imagine that your face was even looking more youthful as it does now. But the only thing is that they were looking at the hair, and that's the societal norms. It's like, if you see, I had a quick little story. I'm 53 and I have a 15-year-old son, but we also have a 24-year-old and a 27-year-old. We are a blended family.
Right.
And I was with my son about 2 years ago, the 15-year-old, picking him up from a basketball game because he wanted to go skating. So I wanted to go and check out everything. So I wasn't driving, but some of the kids thought I was driving. So one little boy, he comes over to my car. He's like, I'm riding with Bryce's grandma. And I was like, I'm not Bryce's grandma, I'm his mom. But again, like, I know my face is pretty youthful.
It is very
and
youthful.
People look at me like, I love your color, but they think it's platinum when it's really, I'm like, thank you.
You're very confused.
Right, exactly, right. So I know that was the issue with that person asking, was that the grandma.
Yeah, I didn't feel any ill will. She was right, not at all.
Right.
And it is very confusing. I've been in the grocery stores, where people will say, okay, the face and the body don't match.
Why does it have to be that way? No.
But for who? It doesn't match for who. It matches me perfectly.
Because you know what? I just thought about something you said. It matches you perfectly. Mine matches me perfectly. I feel natural with it because that color, when you put that color over your head, you were puzzled because you were looking more youthful with the silver hair than you did putting that color. I don't know what color it was, but I know a lot of women, they color their hair with darker colors, darker shades.
It was a brown because I knew like the black, I knew that was too harsh.
Yeah, it's too harsh.
So it was kind of an auburny brown.
Okay.
And honestly, I probably was inspired because that's the color my mother colored her hair for decades.
And my mom never colored her hair. She never colored it.
For decades. So yeah, I knew, like I said, I felt like I was wearing a hat for 4 years.
That's funny. So I have a question for you. How did the Maison 276 brand get started from the body butter?
So what happened was, so I was in my kitchen, which I can actually see from here. And I was creating products for my hair, but I had all these leftover raw ingredients because I had researched plant ingredients to solve for the problems that I wanted to address, right? I wanted my silver to be bright and brilliant without the purple dyes because, that gives you old lady blue hair. And I've been struggling with that for decades. And also to be healthy and well-conditioned because, as you know, silver hair, when it stops producing melanin, it gets drier. And so my hair was getting increasingly drier, and the products that I was using, what I later realized, the ingredients in those products were actually contributing to that, like the phosphates, the sulfates, things like that. And so I had all these leftover plant-based ingredients from making the hair products, and I realized, I can make skincare products with these. And that's how I began making the body butters and the soaps. It was really with just the leftover ingredients from the hair products that I created. And so I was in church one Saturday morning at like a leadership meeting and sitting in the back with some of my friends, girlfriends. And so I had just come from the restroom washing my hands. So I just took this little container out of my purse and just had a little couple of teaspoons of body butter. And I just, moisturized my hand, put it back in my purse. And so my friend Wanda goes, what is that? Because she could like smell the lavender. And I said, it's just some stuff that I make. And she's like, you know how your girlfriends are. She's like, let me see it. Let me try it. And so she takes it and she passes it down the road to talk to the other ladies. I mean, I can literally see them now. Vanna, Tony, Tiffany, like it's so, because this pivotal moment in my life is just like etched. And so they pass it down the road. Now the whole back of the church smells like lavender, and I finally get it back. And she said, well, I want some. I said, it's just some stuff that I make for myself. I don't sell it. And she said, well, sell it to me. I said, well, I don't have anything to put it in. She said, well, just put it in that. And I said, honey, if I sell you something, it will not be in a Tupperware container. And those ladies were my first customers.
Okay, cool.
I actually had to create an Etsy storefront to sell products to my friends initially. And, one thing kind of led to another. Other people would find out, Angel makes these body butters and they're great. And so it was very much a local grassroots movement. I would have local pop-ups. People would invite me to different things, like maybe a church was having something. And you know how you go to local events and they'll have vendor tables.
Oh yeah, I used to vendor all the time. I'm an accessory designer, so
and that is hard work.
Yes,
it's your whole weekend.
It's hustle.
It is a hustle and grind. And I still had a very, very busy job. I mean, I ran one of Texas Children's busiest primary care clinics, and I was on call 24/7. So it was definitely a passion project.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say to people who, are interested in turning their hobby into an enterprise, it can't be the money. It's got to be the passion.
Yeah.
And you got to really love it, because when you factor in all the hours it takes you to prepare for that vendor event, it's not just what you sold, it's all the time it took you to create the product that you're selling, the setup, the takedown. It's just,
I know it's a thing.
You have to love it.
Yeah, you do.
You really have to love it. And so that's how I began selling products.
So what year was that?
In Houston.
What year was that?
That was like in late 2014, 2015.
Okay.
And then in 2015, that summer, one of my son's best friends had been hired by Essence to curate their beauty box. For about a year, they had a beauty subscription box. And so she had been using some of my homemade body butters, because I would send them to him in New York.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really using
I heard that he was pushing them under the cabinet.
Right. And so,
and that's something, college student.
I mean, no, he was out of college then. He was living. Yeah, he had already graduated.
Okay.
He was living in New York. And so she called me and was like, hey, I love these body butters. I'm starting this new project. Are you interested? And for a woman of color, Essence is a very important cultural icon for us. Beauty, lifestyle. Like, it's the first place women of our generation saw ourselves reflected with beauty and grace. And we saw all versions of us, not just the one version that the majority magazine.
Right, exactly.
We saw all the hues and
exactly. I knew where you were getting to.
And so, I saw me in Essence, I felt like. And so I just said yes. I mean, I didn't know what that meant. I had no clue. But I just knew if Essence wanted me to do something and they wanted me to collaborate with them, I was just going to say yes. And the fact that I was still making products in my kitchen did not matter to me. I needed to know what they wanted. And if there was any way possible, I could make it happen. And so I said yes to providing them over 10,000 units. And I just had to figure out how to make it happen. Ultimately, they wanted 15,000 units. And so, I had to find a manufacturer who was willing to use my formulations, not something they had on a shelf and then they would just put their label on it. And so I was just really blessed to have people kind of point me in the right direction, not take all the no's that I got as a sign that this was not something that was going to be possible. I just, the hustle and grind, and within 9 months we were able to deliver on our promise. And so we delivered the Pomegranate Kiss body butter, and that's actually what launched the company, because prior to then I wasn't incorporated. I didn't have a manufacturer. I was printing the labels myself on my home printer. It was totally cottage industry stuff. And that is not who Essence does business with. And so it forced me to make a decision, okay, is this a real thing or not? And that's really what launched the company. I started going to real trade shows, I would say, not the local pop-ups. And women kept asking about my hair. And they love the body butters and the soaps. And what I had thought all my life, I'm just a unicorn. Nobody has these issues that I have with my hair. And they wanted to know, well, how do you keep it so white? And how do you, yes, you can touch my hair if I tell you you can touch it. That's the operative thing. How do you keep it so soft? And after, several months of this, in a very short period of time, I realized, I need to do a hair care product. because I may be a unicorn, but there are apparently a lot of unicorns. And women would say like, well, if my hair looked like that, I wouldn't color it. And it was just really a revelation for me. And the other thing was like when I would go to these shows, and I mean like the really big trade shows, the beauty shows that are finally coming back, thank goodness. The other thing I realized is that most of the women who were there representing companies, whether they were the founders or they were just part of the street team, you know, that they hire in local cities, they all look like my daughter. Like there were practically no middle-aged women, even though the audience was very, very diverse, but the people behind the booths and the tables and the activations, they were all super young. And so I just had all these middle-aged women, all ethnicities, all hair textures and types. And we would just talk about just general beauty issues prevalent to our age, you know, because we don't want to use the products that our daughters use because most of them don't work for us. And so I just realized like not only was there a need for a hair product that really addressed the needs of women who wanted to embrace the naturally occurring changes that are taking place in our bodies as we mature. It's not wrong, it's just different. We're just different. Our hair is different. Our skin, everything, you know, our skin is different. And not just beyond the silver, but to see themselves reflected in a way that's beautiful and that says, no, I'm proud of who I am. I'm not trying to be my daughter. I am wanting to live my very best authentic life, and just realize, you know, there was a void in the market for that. And that really became the mission of Maison 276. The brand name is inspired by my New Orleans roots. Maison's French for house, and 276 is the street address of the house where I grew up. And so one of my greatest joys as an entrepreneur is being able to share this journey with my mother. And that house that she subsequently sold, but now lives in a whole different way, is just, you know, it is one of my proudest moments. And being able to walk her into a store the first time we were on a shelf somewhere and have her see that.
Wow.
Like, that was just, you know, it was just kind of one of those ways of, you know, you can't thank your parents for doing what they do, but of just kind of in a very physical and public way saying, you know, I saw you, I see you, and I appreciate, you know, everything you've done to get me and my sister and brother, you know, to the stage that we are in life. So
wow, that's incredible story. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, you started with the body butters, and then you moved on to realizing that women need something for this silver hair. So
it's different than what's on the market.
Right. Exactly. What's different on the market. And you mentioned the purple shampoos, and I've experienced that. I'm a hairstylist for 30 years. So I've experienced everything with the purple shampoos and all that, those type of things. But where did you get your mindset of exactly what you needed to put in these shampoos to start with the 3-step system and actually know exactly what? I'm sure you used it, and your head was the practice head most of the time. So how did you come up with the fact that all the impurities, that this first step, and then your shampoo, and then your moisturizing step, and how every step is moisturizing regardless if it's cleansing, it's still moisturizing at the same time? So how did you come up with that amazing system?
Again, starting with my own personal pain point. So for me, the 2 primary goals that I had were to maintain healthy hair with clean plant-based ingredients, and to keep my silver brilliant and bright without adding unwanted color. And so, it was just a lot of research on the plant-based ingredients that were going to address the problems that I was solving for. And I really need to start rephrasing that. They're not problems, they're just the changes in our hair as we mature. And those changes are the same whether your hair is coily, wavy, bone straight, all of our hair changes as we mature. And so it's just really doing a deep dive into the plant-based ingredients, into the butters, the oils. Some are really heavy and some are not, and just trying to get that balance. And that was kind of the system even before I started selling it. Like, that's kind of what I would do. I would clarify my silver first because I wanted to lift the impurities. As you know, having silver hair, especially when you have a lot of it like you and I do, it's like wearing the same white dress every day. It's just going to get bald.
No, I love that, because if you think about white and you think about how it, over time, it has that little singe, and it's like a shirt you've had, you love it, you wear it, and then you just want to throw it away because you can't wear it. It's not white anymore. I love that.
Yeah. And so before I even thought to the cleansing part, it was just like, okay, first I've got to just lift, and I spend a lot of time outside, so the sun tints your hair. A lot of women don't realize that, but basically your hair is sunburned. I mean, that's basically what that is. And so it was just solving for all those pain points that I had, and then taking my personal regimen and creating a system that could be replicated by other women. And just knowing, all of us, we all have that dry hair as we get older. And what I realized, as women will talk about when that silver hair starts coming in, they'll be like, oh my God, it's so disrespectful. Oh, it has a mind of its own. Oh, it's so wiry. Like, it's different hair. You're expecting that silver hair to act like your black, brown, red, whatever color your melanated hair is. It's two different hairs.
It is.
It's two different. And so when those first ones start coming in, they're kind of fighting through that other hair.
Yeah.
And so they're not trying to be disrespectful. They're just trying to live their best life.
Exactly. They're trying to be them all alone, individually, authentically silver.
Right. So for me, a lot of it was, I feel like the education part is really important, because women think that there's something wrong with them, and there's nothing wrong. It's all normal. It's a normal part of the aging process. And it's just figuring out for each of us, what do we have to do to continue to be our best authentic self, as we progress through life. And I like to make food analogies. Like, we can't eat like we ate when we were 20. Like,
no, we cannot.
We either be 300 pounds or dead, one or the other.
Exactly.
And so, your whole, it's not just your stomach, it's just like your whole body. Like, we're constantly evolving like every other living thing. And we just keep tweaking, right?
Right, exactly.
Some things we used to eat when we were young, we can't eat those things anymore for whatever reason. They just don't settle well with us. So you move on to something else.
That does, right?
That does, right. And so I try to, when I'm talking to women, I feel like the beauty part of it, the hair, the skin, that's really just an entry point to just talk about really our whole self.
Yeah. And you know what, Angel, I say this all the time. Two things I tell my clients, because I still have a lot of clients that are gray, and I still color their hair, but beautiful colors like auburn, gold, blondes. But I tell them, they're like, this aging thing. And the first thing I always say is consider the opposite. Which one would you rather be, aging or not? Which one would you rather
There's
be?
only two alternatives.
Yeah, it is. And then another thing is that, which is really huge, I talk about gray hair, and I'm a style coach also. So I dress women and I help them with their closets. And I think about gray hair, and I talk a lot about gray hair, but I always say it's not just about the gray hair. It's something deeply rooted as to why a lot of women, including myself, experience the challenges with deciding to ditch the dye or stop coloring your hair. So a lot of people don't understand that it's a lot that goes with just stop coloring your hair. What do you feel
fear.
Like? It is. It's a mindset. It sure is. And it's so deeply rooted that it's spiritual than just stop coloring.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. It really is. It's kind of, and I'm sure as a stylist, you probably have a struggle with, say, getting people to update their hairstyle.
Oh yeah, I do.
Like, what looked great on you when you were 30?
Yeah.
I mean, it might still look good at 50 or 60. I don't know. But I bet if you ask your stylist, she would have some ideas.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because I try to make women my best to look modern, to look more modern. Add some lipstick. Like, you don't have to have a whole face full of makeup like, the YouTube makeup artists.
Oh, right.
Just add a little powder, add a little liner, add a little lip. Just put some lip gloss on your lips.
Right. Color. And that's the other thing, like, when you do decide to embrace your silver, you may have to make some wardrobe updates because I know there are certain colors, they may look good on my skin, but they don't look great with my
hair. Right. Exactly.
Like the yellows, because it just reflects that yellow up onto my hair. And so, those are all just tweaks. And to your point, just be modern. Mm-hmm. You don't have to dress like, you're not trying to dress like a 20-year-old.
Exactly.
You're just trying to be a modern middle-aged woman.
Right.
For whatever that means. Because that means something for each of us. We're not cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Each of us has our styles. But I think so much is truly the mindset. I really do.
So what do you have going forward with Maison 276? Do you have some exciting products that you maybe can't talk about that you're looking to add, or you don't have to tell us everything, but right. I know you have more than just the hair care system. You have some oils,
right? So we also have So this, I get with the time, like, I'm trying to think, when was that? Last year we launched the Revive Serum. Mm-hmm. So it's a hair and scalp serum, also plant-based, super, super light. You can use it immediately after you shampoo and condition if you want to seal in moisture, which I highly recommend at our age. You need to lock in that moisture. And if you want to add it between, a few drops just for a little bit of shine.
I used some this morning before I have some.
Oh, it's beautiful. If you want to use a few drops, through, between wash and shampoos, that's fine too. We do have some new products on the horizon, additional styling aids.
Oh, wow.
So
that's exciting.
Excited. Right. That we'll be sharing later, as well as some, exciting partnerships that are coming up in the coming months. So we're just, continuing to expand the Maison 276 community, support women who want to embrace this stage of their life with beauty and vibrancy and energy, and really change the narrative as it relates to aging. Mm-hmm. Because I believe the media and really in general the overall beauty industry has not caught up to where we really are.
Not. I'm in that industry, and no, we have not. As far as products especially.
Yeah, and their imagery of us and how they think we think and what we want, like, we have passed them and they're trying to catch up. And so, my mission and my vision and, my life's work going forward is to be a part of that voice and a part of changing the narrative. And it's going to take all of us. It's not going to be just one person. It's not going to be one brand. It's going to take all of us, women like us, that say, no, we reject that. That's not who I am. Mm-hmm. That's not who we are. And, we're writing our own stories.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true.
We're writing our own stories. And the thing about social media, obviously there's some good and some bad, but it allows you to tell your own narrative. Mm-hmm. It allows you to tell your own story. And, one of the things that I'm so grateful for I never intended to be an entrepreneur. I never intended to start a company or retire from my job that I was going to retire from 5 years, later. But I am so grateful for the women that are now part of my life, because they're people that, like you, like I would never have met. I would not have crossed them in my life as a healthcare administrator,
right,
or in my life here in Houston or New Orleans. I still spend a lot of time at home. And so my life has been so enriched by all these additional women that are now part of my circle. I used to think me and my friends were just like out here on an island by ourselves. Like there's nobody, I don't know anybody else like us. And we were always laugh about it. We still do. And so now I'm realizing, no, there's like a world of us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a world of us. And we, through the platform of social media, we're connecting,
right,
and realizing, no, me and my friends aren't the only one. There's another group of people,
right.
And so that's why I'm saying, like, we now have the power to write our own story, and to write our own narrative, and write our own future.
Yes, that's so true.
Like,
and I was gonna get into that also at the end of our series here, but I want to circle back really fast and ask you about your QVC experience.
Oh yes, okay. So that was in all the good ways. So in 2019, my son, who is co-founder and CFO, came across the contest, the QVC Big Fine Contest. It was something they had for several years, and said, we should apply to this. And I was like, yeah, sure, we should. And so we applied to it was an initial online submission. And then about a month later, we were notified via email that we made the cut to do a live pitch. And they actually did pitches in 4 cities across the country. And we pitched in New York, which is where he lives. And so we pitched. It was like 6 minutes. And then the next 4 minutes, they ask questions. I tell people it's like Shark Tank, except everybody's really nice. And everybody's really nice.
I love that show too.
Yeah. And so we won the big ticket. It's kind of like American Idol in that sense, where they give you a ticket. And so we won the big ticket right then. And it was just so surreal. Like I don't even remember walking from the second floor back down to the first floor. Like I don't even remember if we took the stairs or if I was on the elevator. I just know, like, I remember getting the big ticket, and then like all of a sudden somebody's standing there with a mic, and it was just it was one of those things where you go back and look at the pictures to see what happened. And so they were taping it, and someone had actually, my son had given someone my cell phone, and they actually recorded the QVC person interviewing us. So that happened in the summer, and I did not go on air until February. So it is a very long and extremely thorough training process to get on air. The year we were on, there were over 650 applicants.
Wow.
There were only 75 winners. And of those 75, only 35 were selected for on-air launch between HSN and QVC, because they're owned by the same parent company.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And so we were one of the 35. So extremely grateful for that opportunity. The biggest platform, obviously, that we had ever had. The opportunity to be able to come into women's homes and explain our story, explain the product and how that it differentiates itself from what's on the market. And equally as important, it was really the first time we had on a grand scale to really illustrate the broad range of women and the diverse range of women who use our product. Very often in beauty, the assumption is that a founder of color only makes beauty products for women who look like her. And that is not true. I like to say that our customer base looks like America. Like, we have fair skin, dark skin, straight, wavy, coily. All of those women represent the Maison 276 community. And so having live models that represented all of the diverse women in our community was really, really critical for us. And so, I'm just forever grateful for that opportunity. But the training was very intense and very thorough. So, when you get in front of that camera, they're not just throwing you out there. They're not. And I am so grateful for that opportunity, because while I've been, comfortable with public speaking since a child. I grew up in a Black Baptist church. So you know how that, what they do. What they do. Like, you're going to do the speech.
Yes. Yes.
But those are things that come back to us in
right.
our adulthood, and we don't know that, right?
Right.
And so those are things that are very, very important in our
right.
life. But having said all that, live TV is still live TV.
Right, yeah.
And so really grateful for the opportunity to do all the training. This was right before COVID, and in fact our show aired
I was
like
thinking
2 weeks before they shut
the lockdown
down.
Right.
So I was just so grateful for that, because we had the opportunity to actually train on the QVC. Well, me, because my son wasn't on air with me, but we were actually in the studios and trained with the host. And so it was an incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
I really can't say how grateful I am for that. And then obviously the exposure that it gave us.
Well, that kind of took you through a whirlwind during 2020, during the lockdown.
It was
you
like
had a lot to do. You weren't
QVC, and then like shut down, and then learning how to do live TV from your home. Like, people talk about my backdrop, like this is my office. Well, this is my COVID project, because I kept trying to test different locations in my house that would look good on TV. Like, my first one was in the dining room. I had set up this area in the dining room, and it was fine, but I just kept experimenting. So I just redid my whole office. And so going forward, the last 2 times I was on air, it was from here. But this is actually why this is a result of QVC.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I love it.
And basically the bookshelves were black.
Okay.
And the walls were white. But the stuff that was up there, I zhuzhed it up a little bit, but I just needed something that would look good on TV, and hence I created this. Who knew we were going to be on Zoom for 2 years? So,
I know, right?
Yeah, I've had people think it was a virtual background. I was like, no, that's
real. Yeah, because people have some amazing virtual backgrounds. I was looking at this trainer on after I finished working out this morning. I was looking at this training guy on YouTube, and he's doing like I think a rebounding. And in the background, it's a video. I know he's not in front of that because I can kind of tell, but it's a beautiful water fountain. It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So people have some serious, most of them look really true.
Yeah, but the technology is really caught up to your head doesn't disappear in the background or something. But yeah, this backdrop, my office renovation is a result of the QVC wanting to look decent on TV, and just learning how to do that with the lighting. And I'm telling you, all the lessons learned through that experience.
I know, it's
been
incredible.
Phenomenal. And I'm an open book. I look, there are so many people that just make it possible for me to be having this conversation with you, that I'm pretty much an open book in terms of, people asking advice, or, I might not have all the answers, but I will definitely tell you any mistakes that I've made and don't do this. But yeah, I'm just filled with gratitude. Honestly, I really am.
That's good. So speaking of mistakes, what is one thing you would have done differently, if anything, when you started your brand?
Oh, Lord, so many. So many. I would say, especially as you start to grow. So in the beginning, and there's, like I said, we could do a whole podcast on mistakes that I made. In the beginning, you do everything yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like literally everything, whether it's making the products in the kitchen, shipping the products from your dining room, printing the labels.
Yeah.
I mean, and at some point, you have to figure out the things that you need to give to other people who are experts, right? And so, the good thing about doing it all yourself is that when you do get to the point where you can hire people, and 9 times out of 10 it's a contractor, right? Another freelancer or whatever, but you know enough to know what you know and what you want and what you don't want,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
And so, don't begrudge your humble beginnings, because that's your learning ground. That's where you learn the mistakes that cost the least.
Right.
That's true. Because some mistakes can be very costly. So, go slow, learn as much as you can, but then realize when you've reached your own level of incompetency, right? For me, the first thing I had to hire someone to do, like when we did the Essence project, like I needed somebody to create a label. And the one that I have, I've never used it since then. It's the one that they created really wasn't great, but it was so much better than what I did that I just jumped on it. And, so honestly, we've probably had at this point 10 different labels, but each time it was better than the time before. And so, your customers, they go on that journey with you, the original ones. Like, and so they see, oh, she changed, the jar is better, the label is better. Like, no one comes to you and goes, well, what did you do? Like, they go through the journey with you. The other, this is not so much a mistake, but advice that I would say is be transparent when you have problems. Like there were times when we had a hurricane and like we went 2 weeks and couldn't ship, or there was another hurricane and the products didn't come because they were in Florida, and so the Florida location couldn't ship. And you just have to be honest with your customers.
Yeah, I know. I can
news.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for your honesty, because I was over in the reviews section and I was just looking at the reviews, looking at the client experiences, and every time someone had an issue or challenge, or they wanted to not necessarily create negativity, but this is not working, that's not working. And the way you guys come back with answers, I even shared a few of those on my video. And two of them that I love. One is a young lady talked about the bottles were smaller or something like that. Size.
Right.
And the way you explained that, I was like, wow. You talked about the pressure in the container and the extra space that was left. And then one other guy, I don't know if it was a guy, his name was Charlie something, but it could have been a woman. I don't know.
That's true.
It could have been, but I know a lot of men shampoo their hair with soap. I know that. So I'm like,
You're right.
He might not be using the products properly because he or she said that my hair is still dull and it's still dry. And I love the response. So I feel your honesty, because I was down in those comments just checking out.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I really do.
Exactly what other people were saying about the product.
And the thing about the bottles, so what happened was people were getting products and some of it was spilling out, and we had never experienced that before, and we were trying to figure out what is causing it, like why is this happening? And we worked with our manufacturer, and honestly it took about 4 or 5 weeks between us and the manufacturer that we figured out what was wrong. And so that's how we went from the 10 ounce to the 8 ounce bottle. we were just trying to figure it out. So I really appreciate that. I hope that people read that and see, like, we're not afraid of negative comments.
Yeah.
If something's not working, I need to know, or it's, you might need to just trust the process a little bit longer.
Yeah. I talk about that. I talk about that. I'm like, if you came dry and you use it one time, you still might be dry. So just give it time. Be patient. Use the product properly. Rinse thoroughly. Don't use the whole bottle on one shampoo or one clarifier.
We use too much product.
Exactly. The way we use one thing is the way we try to use everything. And that's just not the way it is, especially if you have a great product with great ingredients. I found throughout my 30 years is that you don't need a lot.
A little goes a long way.
Because imagine how much I'm using. I'm not using that much on my hair.
Right.
And I was, talked about, like, use maybe for my head of hair, maybe for the clarify, I might use a nickel size amount. That's enough to go throughout my head and really massage it. For the conditioner, it might be the same. For the shampoo, it might be a dime size amount because it's so concentrated.
Yes. And that's what we're trying to say is use less. Always start with less than you think you need. The other thing, I realized this just with my own hair, that, brands are trying to sell more product. And so 99% of shampoo bottles say repeat. And you don't need to wash your hair twice.
Right.
Do you bathe twice? Like, do you get out of the shower and get back in the shower and bathe again? No. Like, that's why our hair is so dry. Because we're over shampooing. And so some of those habits that many of us, like, we learned those habits over decades, we have to unlearn them because they were just not healthy for our hair. And that's one of my big, like, questions when people talk about their hair being dry. That's the first thing I ask them. How often do you shampoo? And when you shampoo, do you do it twice? Nobody needs to shampoo twice. You just don't.
That's so true, because some natural heads of hair, I know some of my clients that come just to have their hair, they're in shape, like once a quarter. I recommend once a quarter.
Right.
They only shampoo once a month.
And I know that sounds so scandalous to some people, but you have to know your hair.
Yeah. Because in between, they could be doing the pre-poo, which I mentioned that you can use the first step, the clarify, as a pre-poo.
1 and 3.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mentioned. And I had to say in my video that now these are not manufacturer's directions. This is my personal, professional. Because what I do a lot of times is I use the clarify, the step 1, and then I rinse. I did this in the shower yesterday. And then I rinsed and went to the third step and just used like a pea-size amount as a leave-in.
You don't even need to wash your hair that much.
Yeah, so I feel better. I feel good now that I put that out there. It's already in my video. So yeah, that's how I explain it.
And that was the whole, again, I was replicating what I was already doing at home. And I knew that, I don't have to wash my hair. I don't have to use shampoo each time. Sometimes I just needed to rinse out whatever was in there. I work out a lot. And so sometimes it would just be sweat, salt from working out. It wasn't dirty. I didn't have a lot of product buildup. And so I really wanted to create a system that was really, that you could customize.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could say, just like you're like, oh, I don't need this. I only need that. And so that is actually the whole point of the system.
I feel so good.
We
exactly
always recommend, buy the trio, the bundle at first, but that's why we also sell it individually. Because someone like you will not need shampoo as often as someone who has hair to their tailbone.
Massive, exactly.
And so that was the whole point, so that you could be efficient with using your product and your purchases, and buy what you need. So you don't need, if you don't need it all the time, then
exactly. Okay, I feel good. I accomplished some very good information on that video.
No, I love it when people share how they use the product, because women want to, another thing in beauty is like, we want to see ourselves, right? So if I'm looking for a tip, I'm looking for somebody who has hair like me.
Right, exactly.
And someone who wears their hair like me. They don't want to know what I do. They want to know what does Sharon do? My hair looks like hers. That's how often does she wear her hair? How much product does she use?
Right.
And so, which is why it's so important to have diversity and representation so people can see
That's
themselves.
So true. That is so true, especially with the ambassadors, if they're sharing the product. And it's just like, it's so many different, it's just hair. It's just texture. It's just wavy. It's kinky. It's curly. It's straight.
And sometimes all of that is on the same head.
Exactly. And yes, because I have 3 different textures on my hair.
That's me too. Yeah. That's me too. So, and so that's why we don't tell the brand ambassadors what to post,
right?
Because I want your experience. I want to know, how do you use the product? And a woman who has hair like you, that's what she wants to know. She doesn't want to know what I do.
Right. Exactly.
She wants to know what someone who has hair like her does. And so I love that, when you guys share your authentic experience and say, well, here, this is what works for me. I love that. We love that. And that's why you will see it posted on our Instagram page.
Right. Okay. So I have one last question for you. Right. So when I think of life and I think of this second half of our life where we're just vibrant, we're healthy, and we're just trying to live the best. I always say, don't try to be younger, just try to be better. Right?
I don't want to go back.
Exactly. No, I definitely don't want to go back. But what would you share with our listening audience as we wrap this amazing segment up? What would you share with our listening audience if they have a passion and they have a purpose for a thing and they just want to get it out into the world? Over 50. What type of inspiration and motivation can you leave with our listening audience as to the steps that they can take and maybe put a little bit of your steps that you took to get your thing, which is the amazing company Maison 276, out into the world?
Well, I learned on the run, and I still am. I mean, I'm definitely still learning. And so, first of all, I would just say, just do it. Like, just because you haven't done it doesn't mean you can't. And just because you're nervous or fearful or anxious, that's normal too. That none of those are signs that you should not be doing something. Those are just normal human emotions when you get ready to do something different, right? The other thing I would say is, I think we, particularly as women at this stage in our life, we really undervalue our lifetime of experience, whether that's in our career, our community service, raising our families, in our friendships. Like, we really don't value a lifetime of experience and how much that can propel us to a new level. Like, you have so much experience that you're not giving yourself credit for, so much knowledge, so much insight, just based on living your life to this point. And so I know it sounds very cliche-ish, but I mean, just do it. Even if you're scared, just do it. Sometimes people in our life can't see us in a different role other than the role that they've previously seen us in. And you know what? That's okay. That is truly okay. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it. Because if nothing else, at this point in your life, you deserve to do the thing that you want to do if you haven't been doing it. And even if it's something new, like, I'm not even saying, it could be not be something that you kind of had over the years and you just didn't want to, take, because that was not my experience. I didn't have, 30 years of, I really want to be an entrepreneur. Like, that was, it just happened organically. And so, yeah, I mean, I just say you have so much inside of you that you're probably not giving yourself credit for, and the power to make a completely new impact on the world, in addition to the impact that you've already had over these last 50, 60, or however many years.
That's awesome. That's an amazing. I mean, when people talk, I'm visualizing, and that's just the way my brain works. And I'm thinking about all the experiences at our ages that we've had,
Yes.
and how much power and impact we can make. And even if it's not doing something so huge,
Right.
it doesn't have to be that huge. It could be, sharing with some millennials about life and, whatever that space is for that particular person, that is for you out there.
Right.
And just being your authentic self, because that's exactly what this silver hair is all about, this silver mane that we have. It stands for wisdom. It stands for power. And I always say that chic. I love the word chic. And I came up with an acronym, climbing higher in consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what I think about this journey. It's just like we're climbing to the next level that God, your creator, whatever you believe in, it's your next level of you. And what can be better than that? Because I had a girlfriend. I don't want to end this with a sad note, but I had a girlfriend. We were planning her 49th birthday. I'm sorry, her 50th birthday party, and she died in her sleep. So that gave me, and she was like 6 years younger than me, so I was in my early 40s when it happened. And that gave me, like, whatever and I'm an introvert, but I love people.
Right.
So
I get that. I do. I get that.
Yeah, that gave me the wisdom to know that, this is not going to be forever. So whatever you need to get out there, whatever it is, a book, a poem, whatever it is just to do it, like you said.
Yeah, I know it sounds cliche-ish, but they're just, yeah, and each of us at this stage in our life, like, we have a story like what you just shared, right? Whether it's a college classmate or something where things just happen so quickly. And so, I feel like if the lockdown hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us to, capture and live every moment.
Yeah, because this is my baby. I started a YouTube channel at what was 51, and it's the same year I went gray. It was almost like a spiritual awakening for me. And yeah. I'm like, okay. And I started off talking to hairstylists about business.
Oh.
And then what happened was when I went gray, I wanted to get some other women on the camera so that I can find out more about their process. So that video has now 40,000 plus views.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. And we're just having a natural conversation. And so I started making other videos similar. And so last summer is when I initially just split the two. I said, I'm only going to be concentrating on gray hair and, the Gen X lifestyle, women over 50. And so that was that's my mission now, is to uplift, inspire, and encourage and empower women to go gray with style.
Absolutely.
And just, live the best life in their next chapter. So
absolutely. And that Sharon, I couldn't have said it better. And when we come to the YouTube or the face, like, we are looking for our peers, right?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not looking for the 20-year-old YouTuber.
Right, exactly.
I don't care if she has 5 million followers. I need somebody who looks like me.
Right. And that's what I started researching my analytics. And my analytics was showing me that women were watching the gray hair videos. And I'm like, well, there it is. That's your answer. You need to focus on the people that's listening.
Because there's so little out there
that
you feel like you can trust, right? Or that you just feel is applicable to you.
Right.
I just need to hear stuff from people who have had some life experiences.
Yeah.
That's
so true. That's true.
Yeah. So, and that's what we want. And so, no, you're feeling, a void, as evidenced by the people who are, tuning into your channel. And, they say follow the numbers, and that's what you did. But I think that's proof right there. Like, okay, this is what I need to be doing. This is what, and that's really, it's that validation. It doesn't mean that it's easy or everything goes your way all the time. It's very hard, which is why I don't have a YouTube channel, because I know putting out content is very, very good content is very difficult.
Yeah.
It really is. So I commend you on that.
Yeah. Thank you.
It is very difficult. And so thank you for, filling yet another void for us in this space.
Yeah, because
we're writing our own stories.
Right.
You're one of those authors.
That is so true. And you have to have a purpose and a passion. My purpose is already there, but you got to have a passion, you mentioned earlier. And you also mentioned earlier, you got to love it when you were going to those vendors. So it's just like, this is like every time I put out a video, I pray about it. And I say, even if it has 10 views and it helped one person, then I fulfill my passion, I fulfill my purpose, and I fulfill my impact on that one person.
It's like dropping, the old analogy, dropping a rock in and it just right.
Trickles out,
yeah,
that's so true.
I feel like the work that both of us do, honestly, in terms of just encouraging women, sometimes you personally may not see the impact, but it could be someone who heard you talking to a friend, and who's someone you may never meet, but your words inspired her to talk to her friend, and now her friend, is feeling better about this stage in life and taking on new challenges and something exciting and different. So I don't necessarily wait to see the reaction myself, because I really feel like if we're putting goodness out into the world, it's going to find its place.
That is so true.
Whether we see it or not. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Platform.
And I have one more thing to say that we have in common.
Okay.
We're both AKAs.
Oh!
I saw a post that you put up today. You were with your line sister.
I know. I don't do that very, very often.
I don't either. You probably will never see mine.
I don't do it very often. We had so much fun.
You guys look like you had fun in that circle.
We are. And, I have one sister, birth sister, but those women that have been a part of my life for over 40
that pledge
years. Yeah, look, I had to think it's been a minute. But I love them to the moon and back. So what a small world. Yeah, that's one of those rare ones. It'll get lost down in the if I don't delete it. I won't.
That's so funny. I know.
Every now and then somebody will say, man, that's a lot of pink in your background.
Yeah, but I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate
Thank you for sharing that with me.
From the bottom of my heart, this whole segment that we did, and I'll definitely let you know when it's done.
Absolutely.
And I know people are going to love this session, and I just want to say have an amazing day, and good luck and blessings with the future of your brand.
Thank you so much.
And I'm looking forward to being a lifetime member of the Maison 276 family, and more to come for me sharing the product.
Because we don't kick anybody out.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the product. I'm actually using the product on more than just silver hair. Like I've been seeing some results. Yeah,
the shampoo and conditioner. Anybody, we don't. I probably don't do a good enough job of promoting that from a marketing perspective. In that, my daughter uses the shampoo and conditioner. Literally anybody could use that.
Yeah.
What part of the country are you in?
Chicago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's still nice there.
It's cool today. But it's decent. It's not winter yet. So,
that's what I mean.
So we're good.
Right. I would probably look. I don't. Honey, we're already in the mid 90s, and it's not as hot as this.
Really?
Oh, girl, yeah.
I like that heat, though. I love heat. I love to sit out in the sun. Now, I'm not gonna sit out.
Your sun is not the same as ours.
Yeah, you're right.
This humidity, girl. Yeah. I'm actually gonna do a protective style this weekend. I'll see how long I wear it. Okay. I tried it not too long ago, and I just actually did it myself because I didn't want to spend hundreds of dollars and I don't like this at all.
Right.
And honey, once I watched enough of those YouTube videos, I'm like, oh, I know how to do this. Honey, that's what I'm going to be doing the next couple of days. I don't think I have any more Zoom calls. I sure am.
Okay. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day, your month.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the invitation. This has been fun.
I really appreciate you. All right.
Okay,
Take care.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. What do you guys think? I thought that this was an awesome feature, an awesome segment. So I want you to know that this is a very special relationship and connection. And I'm so excited to continue to share with you guys how this particular product is great for your dry gray hair. And if you want to watch the video where I actually go over all the details of how I've used the product, then watch this video right here. And it'll be a review of the Maison 276 brand. And if you're ready to invest in the Maison 276 brand, you can do so in our description section below. I offer you a 20% off gift code so that you can receive a discount on your first purchase or on any purchase that you purchase. And the ingredients that are involved in this particular product are the best ingredients out there in the market. This product is plant-based, and the feel that you're gonna experience after you've used this product for the very first time. Let us know when you purchase the product, how you use the product, and also your results that you experience with the Maison 276 brand. And I have to say that I will receive a small portion of the proceeds will go to my channel and help me to continue creating amazing content just like this video for you, bringing you top of the line people, bringing you experiences, bringing you education based on women over 50 and the gray hair experience. And until the next time, guys, take care. Peace.